I didn't think I would find myself in the middle of a personal storm, but in the fall of last year, when my husband and I were geographically separated, I was at a speaking engagement in Tampa and he was at our home in Asheville. The unexpected occurred while living in Florida. We experienced many hurricanes. No one dreamed that a hurricane would hit Asheville, but yet one did, and it was devastating. Storms, as far as winds, rain, people lost their homes, but it was very devastating. But at the time this happened, the power went out. We had no power in Asheville. There was no phone service, no electric. And during the previous year, I had almost lost my husband to several illnesses. And so for me, not knowing if he was alive or dead for 4 days was devastating. But finally, he was able to go to the nearby grocery store and get a phone signal. We were able to connect. Thank God he was still alive. But it was so frightening. And then I tried to travel home from Florida to Asheville. There were no flights. He couldn't get gas for the car. After hours of waiting in line, about a week after the storm, he finally was able to get gas for the car. And we met in Charlotte. I ended up flying and staying with a friend in Charlotte. But the good news was we didn't lose our home. Thank God. Some people lost their homes. We were on the side of the hill where we had trees come down. Sadly, on the other side of the hill, everything slid down, literally slid down the hill into a parking lot of a shopping center. And this happened all over Asheville, people losing their home left and right. So it was very devastating. I never dreamed that we would go through a personal storm. Well, I was talking about writing a book about the storms of life. So this was extremely unexpected, but thank God we were spared. And people ask me now, a year later, what happened to Asheville? Well, thankfully I can say a year later, Asheville's rebuilding. And people are rebuilding homes and businesses, and things are coming back there. And I am grateful for that. So this was the beginning of the book. It ended up being the first chapter, and this past year has been a very difficult year for me as I've experienced a lot of physical illness, a lot of ups and downs. So I haven't been in a good place to be able to write, but I'm happy to tell you now that things are getting better for me. And I'm excited to be able to share my personal journey through storms, many types of storms, that I haven't previously talked about in my previous books. My first book being Supernatural Rescue, my second book being Living a Positive Life in a Negative World. If I'm totally honest with you, I would tell you I had a hard time being positive this year. It was a difficult year. But in getting through this year and seeing the turnaround, I'm now confident that I can encourage other people as they're going through their personal storms in different ways than I have in the past. Maybe having to do with living a better life in spite of what you're going through. Sometimes we can't really change our situation, we can't change our circumstances, but we can change how we deal with it, how we personally deal with it. We can't deal with things that are out of our control, but we can deal with how we choose to basically respond in either a positive or a negative way. And so I'm hoping in this book to really help people with different types of situations, going through different types of personal storms, and in spite of what they're going through, making their life better and more positive, and also body, soul, and spirit getting through it and not having an extremely negative impact on themselves physically. And a lot of life is about choices. We can choose to do things a certain way, which can make a huge impact. But many times when things are tough, we have a tendency to want to go down a negative road. And I'm guilty of that myself. I went through bad things this year. I had a tendency maybe to want to be a little depressed or to look at the negative. And I'm thinking, here I am, the author of a book called Living a Positive Life in a Negative World, and I'm having a struggle. But the truth is we all struggle. Life isn't perfect. We live in difficult times. And many of the times around us are unexpected, and we cannot control those things we're going through. So at this moment, I would just like to say that the book that I'm working on, I'm hoping will give people more tools for their body, for their soul, and their spirit, but especially spiritual tools. My spiritual journey has held me together in so many ways when I couldn't control my health, and even my mental well-being. Because of physical illness, I struggled with that. I still had my faith in God, and my spiritual journey honestly has upheld me when there were many things I could not control in the other areas of my life. So much of my book will be about that spiritual journey